Hey guys, this is what if Naruto at solo leveling part 3, and before the video actually starts, I've been thinking of doing what if Naruto is OP neglected but remastered. I know, I already did the series in the past. I'm pretty sure yeah, that was my first ever series I've ever done. But at the time I didn't have a good microphone, and that was again my first video. So if I do it, I'll put in different ideas. I'll have a better microphone. Hopefully I also won't stutter as much as I did in that video. If you guys want to go vote for it, you can go to my community tab. There's a little poll saying whether or not you guys can basically vote yes or no to see if I do a remastered version or not. Also, if you haven't seen the last parts, I recommend watching them before this one, but just to give a brief summary of what happened in part 2, is Naruto basically witnessed the Uchiha massacre. He was in bed, and then he basically sensed the intent to kill, because solo leveling, the actual menu, can do that sometimes. And he saw Itachi cry before he left, like when he basically made Sasuke pass out, and Itachi also mouthed to him, mouthed out the words, "Take care of him." And so yeah, and then he was kind of curious on why he did this, and he even took Sasuke to the hospital after that happened. And he also told Sasuke that he wanted to help, but Sasuke rejected the request and basically told Naruto that he was a loser and he didn't want his help. Naruto also entered the academy, and he also passes. He gets put on Team 7 along with Sasuke and Sakura. And also, for now, the dungeons aren't as hard as solo leveling. Don't worry, Naruto at 7 years old didn't have to do that. It was a little bit easy. It was easier for his level at the time. But as he gets older, the dungeons basically get a lot harder. By the way, also Naruto's the only one that's been awakened, like, at all, and he's the only one that has been able to enter like dungeons from dungeon keys, all that, like how it is in solo leveling. So for now, he's basically the only special one. All the people that somehow managed to enter the dungeons, because if you guys remember in the first part, people were actually able to enter the dungeon like where Naruto got his powers, and it's also where the solo leveling takes place. That one dungeon that the main character goes in, I forgot his name, but yeah. So now where I left off, it's the next day, and this is the day that Naruto is supposed to take the bell test. Naruto woke up pretty early in order to warm up and practice before, the actual test begins. He's still pretty bad at ninjutsu. I mean, mainly because Kurama is still messing with his chakra, and he has too much in order to use, low skilled ninjutsus. But when it comes to raw abilities like his stamina, his strength, his speed, he's still the best in his class, even if he doesn't show it. And Kurama is pretty impressed with Naruto, and he's also a little confused because he can see through Naruto's eyes. I looked this up just to double check, and he can, and he doesn't get what the dungeons are and how Naruto is able to enter them and all this, because it's not normal for him. He's someone who's lived for a very long time, and he's never seen anything like this. But again, he is impressed about or on how Naruto is this strong for such a young age. Also, Naruto still ends up stealing the scroll of seals, and he learns to do the Shadow Clone Jutsu. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in the last video, but he does, because um, Naruto, I feel like, would still end up failing the the exam like for the first time, but again, he would still end up passing in the end. But like the first few times, I'm pretty sure he would fail because again, his ninjutsu is still pretty bad, like how it is in canon. Naruto eventually goes to the field and finds Sakura and Sasuke. And they're already there, and they've been sitting there for a couple hours now. Again, it's really early in the morning. Naruto just woke up a bit more earlier just to practice for a while, and he still eventually got there. But of course, they still had to wait even longer until Kakashi finally got there. He tells him that he got lost, lost in the road of life, just like how he did in canon. And he tells them basically the rules and what they have to do. He says that they have to try to get the bells from him in time, and if they don't, or whoever doesn't, because there's two, will be sent back to the academy. And all of them kind of freak out a bit. They're a little nervous, not that much, or not, at least not Naruto. He's not that nervous. He's also not, cocky. He just kind of just like, oh, well, I'll still try my hardest. With that, Kakashi tells them to start. They all head into different directions. Sakura going to the right, Sasuke going to the left, and Naruto going in front. They actually didn't come up with a plan whatsoever. They're all just trying to do basically their own thing. Naruto tries to think of some sort of plan though to do by himself, and he's not sure if he's able to, take on Kakashi head to head. He's not sure if he's experienced or strong enough yet, because he's only fought like a few people. Most people near his age. The only one that he's like basically fought so far, that's not that's human, and not around his age is Mitsuki, because he didn't trick Naruto. Naruto did it on purpose, but he still ended up fighting him. And so he thought that he might ask one of his other teammates, like maybe Sasuke, maybe even Sakura. He's not still sure because he can already see that Sakura is not very good. And so he's probably going to go ask Sasuke. But for now, he tries to stay back and watch Kakashi. So far, Kakashi's just really standing there in the middle of the field. He's reading a book, and Naruto looks around to see if he set up any traps. He can't sense any chakra around that, like around him, that would, basically imply that there's some sort of trap. So he thinks it might be safe, but just in case, he instead gets two kunais. And one of them are kunais and paper bombs. He has a whole bunch of them because technically he has infinite inventory because of solo leveling. He can basically store as much stuff and take as much stuff as long, as he can use solo leveling. So Naruto grabs the two kunais and puts a paper bomb on one of them, and the other is just a normal one. He throws both of them, but misses on purpose. One of them goes to the left, the other one goes to the right. Kakashi saw for like a split second that one of them had a paper bomb in it, and it's the one that would be going on his technically left. For Naruto, if you're looking at him, it'd be on his right, but it's Kakashi's left. And so, either way, the one with the paper bomb explodes, and Kakashi ends up jumping in the other way to like try to avoid it because he actually doesn't want to get hurt. And the kunai has already passed Kakashi. It's not going to hurt him, but at the last second, he feels chakra behind him, looks behind him, and sees that the knife has like poofed. It disappeared. There's smoke all around it, and then he just saw Naruto, and he realized that Naruto, that was back there, has now disappeared, and that in reality that was a clone Naruto, not the actual Naruto, and that the actual Naruto was in the kunai that he threw. Basically, he used substitution jutsu. I think I forgot what jutsu you have to use, but I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about. They used this technique in the Line of Wave arc when it was Sasuke and Naruto, fighting together. Basically, that one, Naruto turned himself into a kunai and had a clone throw himself. Kakashi in his head thought that Naruto's like good, that he knows the shadow clone technique, and that he's actually not that bad. And yeah, because again, the shadow clone technique, it's a high level technique, or usually is a high level technique that Naruto was just basically able to master near the end of the series. But yeah. Yeah, Naruto makes a few more clones just, to try to help him fight. He is in hand-to-hand combat with Kakashi right now. And Kakashi was starting to struggle a little bit. It was 3 against 1, and Naruto is extremely strong. He has a above average strength because one, he's a hunter because he's been awakened. So technically, because a hunter, at least in solo leveling of the manga, already like even if you're weak, you're still like above average human. You have better healing. You heal a lot faster, and you're usually a lot stronger or a bit stronger than a normal human. And Naruto, he is strong, like strong. So he's a really a lot above like a normal human. He's a lot faster and a lot stronger. And so of course Kakashi is going to be a little tired after this. And Naruto even thinks to himself about how Kakashi is a lot slower than some of the monsters he's had to fight. Some of the monsters were moving extremely fast to the point where all Naruto would see are like blurry images. And so Naruto is so far is doing pretty good against Kakashi. Naruto starts to get a few hits on Kakashi, and one of his clones is about to grab a bell from, Kakashi's bell, and Naruto is about to kick Kakashi in the chest, delivering the final hit. But that's when Kakashi turns into a wooden log, and he does this by using or by using the substitution technique. Naruto still ends up kicking the piece of wood, and when he does this, the whole entire piece, like the whole entire log, turns into a whole bunch of pieces that scatters all over the place. And Kakashi sees this from pretty far away. He's basically behind a tree, just hiding. And again, he sees this and slightly shivers while wiping the sweat off of his face. He realizes that that piece of wood could have been him. And on top of that, Naruto even made him put his book down, and if that fight went on for a little bit longer, Kakashi might have even had to use his Sharingan, but he didn't. Kakashi goes looking for the other one, or for the others, and to see what maybe they can do with, basically testing them. And Naruto's still in the middle of the fields, and he's a little disappointed that he didn't get a bell. And Kakashi eventually finds Sakura, and he puts her under the same genjutsu as he does in canon, and she basically passes out. He then finds Sasuke, and Sasuke's put a trap for Kakashi, but it doesn't end up working. But that trap was actually a fake for Kakashi in order to fall into another trap, which doesn't end up working. And this helps Sasuke because it distracts Kakashi, and Sasuke almost grabs the bell, but that's when Kakashi yells out time, and he says this because time's up. And he tells Sasuke to go to the fields and find and also tell Naruto that time's up and to meet next to the three wood like log sticks things. You know what I'm talking about. Kakashi goes to find Sakura and picks her up and then ties her to the middle stick. Like I'm switching out Sakura for I'm Naruto for Sakura in this instance. When they all get there, he gets her out of the genjutsu and Sakura wakes up crying a bit. She does this because she basically thinks that Sasuke is actually dead, even though he's not, because of the genjutsu. And so after she comes down a bit, Kakashi tells him that they'll have one last chance, or a second chance. And again, yeah, I switched Sakura out for Naruto because in this, I feel like she didn't really add anything to it, and Naruto actually did a lot in this. And so I feel like it'd be better to switch them both out. And Kakashi also said that if they feed her, they fail, and leaves after hearing. But after a little bit of time passes, both of them eventually basically hears her stomach growl, and Naruto feels kind of bad for her because he knows how it feels like to starve a bit, and he knows she's probably really hungry. And then he tells Sasuke that maybe they should feed her, even if it's just a little bit, or maybe she won't be able to she won't be ready for the next part of the test. And Sasuke actually agrees on this, and they both end up feeding her a small portion of their food. And as they both do this, Kakashi appears right before them, and they're preparing to basically get yelled at, or like to be told that they failed. But Kakashi tells them that they actually pass, and also gives a speech about the shinobi world. With this, they're relieved and they all head back home. They start doing D-ranked missions for maybe around a few weeks or months, but Naruto eventually gets sick of all of it and asks Kakashi if maybe they can get a harder mission, like maybe a C rank, something just a bit high, or like harder, something that's just better than a D ranked. And Kakashi actually goes to speak with the Hokage and basically asks them if maybe they can have a better mission or something. And the Hokage actually ends up telling him that he actually does have a mission that they can do. And Kakashi goes to go tell, Team 7, which they're all actually pretty excited for, even Sasuke. And this is because, well, it'd technically be their first C rank mission. And that's when they meet Tazuna, the bridge builder. He makes fun of all of them, especially Naruto for his height, even though he's not as short as in canon, but he's still pretty short. And again, he still wears the same jacket, and so nobody can actually see like any of his muscles. By like you can't really see how strong he really is. He just looks like a normal kind of kid that's just a little tall or taller. They're told to go get their things and meet up by the gates, or the entrance gates, in a bit. Naruto runs back to his house and brings a whole bunch of stuff with him, and he can't wait since he's never really left the village before, or he at least hasn't gone far from it. And he stores all the stuff that he gets in his inventory. Again, it's basically infinite. And when he gets back, he plans on doing a few dungeons. I mean, when he gets back from the mission, he plans on doing a few dungeons, and he's already done his daily, his daily workout and stuff that the menu or the solo leveling basically instructs him to do. And so far, he's on a streak, sorry. And he has done all the daily stuff, since that one time that he didn't when he first got solo leveling. I'm pretty sure I said that in part 1 that he didn't do it, but yeah, that's where I'm going to leave off this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you guys did, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that. And if you haven't yet, go check out the poll, in order to vote for the remastered version, if you guys want it or if you guys don't want it. And yeah, I guess that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.